Major newsrooms across Europe have been designing new initiatives on how to use AI tools while maintaining ethics and editorial standards. The use of AI algorithms is not new in journalism. It already helps in many tasks such as tagging, categorizing, headline suggestions, moderating comments, and more. The novelty is that it's able now to produce content. In some use cases, generative AI can help editors and reporters translate and transform their stories for different distribution channels. However, the technology can also be hijacked to produce disinformation and deepfakes, which makes journalists' jobs harder. My name is Kiorri, and this is Communicating Democracy, the EuroPCom podcast on public communication. And to understand better the use of AI in newsrooms, the perks and the implications, I'm joined by Uli Köppen, who is Chief AI Officer at the German public broadcaster Bayerischer Rundfunk. So, Uli, what's your experience with AI and fact-checking? Can AI be used to assist with fact-checking and verification even in instances where people are generating the outputs?
Abby, yes, you already said the right word. It can assist.
Mm-hmm.
Like AI is a very good tool to assist journalists in discovering synthetic content, also fake content.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a network of AI experts at German public broadcasting, and we do have fact checkers who look into AI tools. Those are the experts in that. And they always tell us, well, you can use a lot of tools, and there are a lot of tools coming out right now.
Yeah.
So what they are doing is they're looking at the landscape, they're testing, and they're recommending tools to our colleagues, and there's fantastic stuff coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, we have to use it as a tool. There is not this one tool or this one AI telling you that this piece of content is correct or is manufactured by humans, or on the other hand, is completely synthetic or wrong or disinformation. You always have to use a tool chain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one tool, it's different tools. And of course, you have to use your journalistic training. You have to use your gut feeling that you always have as a fact checker. And it's a craft. So you need people who are into that. You need people who are tech savvy and who know the tool landscape. And this is what AI tools are for at the moment at fact-checking.
Mm-hmm. But can AI systems be used to flag potential misinformation and assist with providing methods to verify the claims that are made in articles published? Talking more about the content itself and the facts here.
Sure. For example, the Reporters Lab at UX is looking into that for years now, and they have automated fact-checking on and running during speeches, for example. So in live situations, this can be very helpful. But again, a complete automation would not be something we would be using right now.
Yeah.
But it's a very good tool. It's helpful. It always depends on the methods, on the situation, on the people using it, but it's helpful.
Mm-hmm. But is there an opportunity to automate, augment, and assist with routine tasks? You know, the tasks that we aren't really particularly exciting to do, such as scheduling social media posts, managing content workflows, and even determining the best time to publish articles to get maximum impact and engagement with an article. Is there an opportunity to automate all these little tasks that can make our job a bit faster and lighter, let's say?
Well, this is the aspect of making our lives easier as reporters and journalists, right? And for that, AI is great. You have a lot of mundane tasks that you can replace or augment, for example, transcribing. This has been a huge pain for years, to go to an interview, to sift through the content and then have a transcript. And now you have it in seconds. So this is a very good example. We also have translation, we have dubbing, we have versioning. We're using a lot of time to version our reporting. Like we are going out, we're doing field reporting, we're doing analysis, and then we have 13 different versions of a story. And for that, AI is also great. We're using it for that. You can use it also as a creative help for writing. We do have our own AI assistant at Bavarian Broadcasting. And people are using it to get ideas, to get better versions of their stories. And then you can use it to streamline workflows in the newsroom. Mm-hmm. And for that, you're leaving the tool level. You use tools, but you also need the humans in the newsroom, right? You need to have humans working together with technology. And for that, we need AI experts in the newsroom, understanding the workflows and understanding what kind of strategy we're after as a newsroom. Who do we want to reach? What kind of reporting do we want to do? So you need people who are rooted in the newsroom, who know AI, who know the workflows, and work together with the domain experts, in this case, news people, news reporters. And if you set up workflows like that, AI also can be very useful to replace mundane tasks. But you need a lot of expertise for that.
But in this case, how can we ensure that the integration of generative AI into journalism upholds accuracy, fairness, and transparency without undermining the role of human journalists or impoverishing the media landscape?
Well, this is a big one, Evie, because these are all the challenges at one place or in one question. Well, there are a lot of challenges right now. And my answer always is that the best help to use AI in a good way, that you look at your mission as a newsroom and as a broadcaster. So what do you want to achieve? Who do you want to reach? And AI is a helpful tool for some of those tasks. So there is not one magic AI for everything. There are different tools for different tasks, the first thing. And then we also have to make sure that AI does not impoverish media, right? That we are not all publishing the same, for example. I guess you can prevent that if you use AI in the right way, but this is one danger, that everything is the same. But it's more or less like news agencies. If you use output of news agencies, there is a danger that everyone is publishing the same thing. We don't do that right now. You have to do it in an intelligent, smart way, like train, for example, an AI in the style you want to publish, not publish everything with the help of AI assistants, but use the AI assistant more for the creative part of the work and perhaps for a little bit of the versioning. So there are solutions for those challenges. And then, of course, we do have the challenge that there is a lot of disinformation out there and that AI is a great helper in publishing a lot of stuff in short time. So this is a big challenge. And for that, we do have fact checkers. But of course, the fact checkers are always one step behind the publishers of disinformation. So there are solutions for that. And there are also big challenges to AI. We have both sides.
Uli, in what ways might AI-driven content personalization and automation threaten shared public narratives and democratic values? And how can media and governments respond responsibly?
Well, this shared narrative problem was already there when we were looking at social media and social media platforms, because this was the beginning years ago when we didn't have only the websites of the news publishers, but also the news streams everyone had for themselves. We are already used to those news feeds everyone has on their phones, and AI is just something that makes it easier to personalize and that makes it also more seamless for people to get news more personalized. So we are used to this kind of problem as a media landscape and as media companies. And I guess it makes sense to focus on our mission that we are providing knowledge as a service. So the possibilities that are in versioning, I think, are bigger than the challenges, because I think our task is to make news and news experiences seamless as possible, because we have the challenge that we are losing a lot of audience right now. And if people are more comfortable when they can choose the way how they consume news, for example, as an audio stream, as a video, or as a text, I think this is a good thing. This makes access easier to information. And this is our job, I would say, as a public service broadcaster, to make access to information as seamless as possible. So I would say the chances that are in AI are bigger in terms of a shared narrative, because we have to provide information. This information is our shared narrative. How people receive this information is not that important, I would say. Of course, the core of this information has to be correct. Our USP as public service broadcaster is trusted information. And we have to translate this trusted information to a new environment, to an AI-mediated environment. And for that, we're using tools. But we have to make sure that people have access to this kind of information. And AI helps us to make this access easier. This is my take.
And you have been mentioning a lot the human factor in using AI and journalists that need to be trained using AI to their benefit. But what ethical, regulatory and educational frameworks are needed to train these journalists to guide newsrooms and to protect citizens from misinformation and the misuse of AI technologies?
I guess training is one of the most crucial things we're having right now. And every newsroom, luckily, has their AI guidelines out there. We as public service broadcasting, we have been very early in that. We have published our first guidelines already in 2020. But now we see that every newsroom has their AI guidelines out there, which is great. So you have a common ground people are standing on and journalists are standing on. Right now. What you need is AI literacy in media companies. And the big question is, how can you get there? Because we have big companies. This is a change topic. This needs cultural change. People need to get used to those tools. People also need to translate their mission as a journalist into this new world. And this is where we need help in media companies, in my point of view. So we at Bavarian Public Broadcasting, we do have an own department for AI training. And we trained in the last year 1,000 journalists in this
That's a lot.
Individual training. That's a lot. It's not enough, but it's a lot. And this was individual training. So departments could go there with their individual challenges and also their individual missions and ask the trainers, can you translate our tasks into the new world? Can you help us how we can use those tools we are allowed to use in the newsroom for those tasks we have? And I guess this is exactly what you need. You need regulation as guardrails, and then you need individual training for different departments to make this change happen, because every department has different challenges. And what we also did, we developed kind of a license, an AI license. This is what a lot of media companies are doing as well, that everyone has to do. So it has to be a mixture between individual training and also cultural training everyone has to do in a media company. And I guess this mixture is challenging because you need a lot of resources to do that. But this is the task for the next years. And I guess a lot of media companies are already in that task. They're already doing that.
So could the relationship between journalists and AI be seen as similar to working with human resources requiring context, qualification, and critical judgment to avoid bias and misinterpretation?
Well, I'm always for making a difference between working with humans and working with machines. This is also part of our guidelines. I think thinking in different categories about this kind of cooperation makes sense, because we only have human evaluation, human analysis, and we have the help of machines, and there's still a big difference. I would make a big difference. But the question is, how can we incorporate this new help in a good way? And you can only incorporate that by understanding how a machine can help you doing that. And thinking about machines like about you would do about your colleagues doesn't really help, because you can do different things with those different resources. I would use a machine, for example, to help me sift through a large amount of content. If I have to understand a big PDF, I can use the help of a machine. Of course, you still have to control what you're getting out, but it's a huge help. Also, preparing for an interview, getting up to a certain task. Also use AI for training. So if you need a certain, I would say, training buddy, then AI is really, really helpful. In other realms, AI won't be that helpful. For example, we still need people for field reporting. We need people out there on the ground talking to our users. We need direct contact to certain users because we want to understand their user needs. So I guess the replacement of humans in journalism, I don't see it as such a big problem, to be honest. But nevertheless, it's a valid question because you can replace some tasks, and also some subtasks in journalism have already changed. For example, the job of a designer, the job of a photographer, the job of people who work with texts that are more and more automated. These jobs are changing, and it really isn't helpful not to talk about that because those people are needed and also desperately needed in other parts of journalism. But you have to help, you have to give retraining, you have to make perspectives for those people. I would say it's a small chunk of the business in journalism right now, but it is part of the business that people have to be retrained and that you have to find different tasks for your talents, because we still need photographers, of course. We still need designers, but perhaps they need different skills. They have to have knowledge of other tools right now. They have to work with other people, for example. We have to get different teams together. So I guess, of course, there is a future in journalism. And of course, we need young people to get into that business. There is not, I don't believe in this message, journalism is dead, because there are a lot of LLMs who can write, so we don't need journalists anymore. Right. I don't believe in that narrative.
And finally, Uli, should the use of AI in journalism be clearly delineated, separating routine, data-driven reporting from complex investigative or opinion work? And how can media ensure transparency around the different ways AI is integrated into newsroom operations, editorial decisions, and content distribution?
I would say we have to be completely transparent. Of course, as a journalist, and I'm a data journalist by training, we are completely transparent about our methods. We just have to make the differentiation where it's useful that people get to know what kind of tools we are using and where it's not so useful. It's absolutely useful, for example, if we're publishing an investigation and people want to know about our methods. They also want to know, if possible, where did you get the information? This doesn't have to do anything with AI. This is general transparency. And for example, as data journalists, we also publish our scripts. We publish our methods. We are completely transparent. You can translate that to the AI world. If we publish something that is somehow automated with AI or not with AI, we always make a disclaimer. If we use, for example, AI to make our Photoshop better, like to make a filter for our videos, which are AI-driven, for example, I think that's not so useful because people are not interested in, okay, here I've used a little chunk of news agency text, and here I've used an AI filter to make the photo a little lighter. This is not interesting. It's interesting as soon as you can confuse AI with reality. And there we have to be very clear. In photos, in videos, directly in the piece of media, not somewhere else, but really there. And that is helpful. Over disclaiming, I would say, is not very helpful because people will just get blind. People will not be interested in this kind of disclaimer. So making those disclaimers where it's necessary is absolutely crucial, but making the differentiation between where is it useful and where not so much, that is also important.
Now, it's evident from our conversation that newsrooms could benefit from an internal culture of transparency, as being clear about where the AI they use comes from and how it was developed. For journalists, the application of human judgment before and during AI use is crucial. Where's the information coming from? What are the potential biases the AI could proliferate? In order to maintain the integrity of journalism in the age of AI, it is essential to understand who has a stake in these AI tool companies and how AI is being used by the media. This will ensure the protection of consumers, democracy, and truth. There cannot be a democracy without a healthy media landscape, and there is no free media without a democracy. And media cannot function without technology. So, Uli, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Communicating Democracy. And if you want to discover more about the link between democracy and technology, check out our EuroPCom podcast series. And of course, if you like this episode, feel free to share it with your network. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time. This is a podcast series of the European Committee of the Regions. For more information on EuroPCom, please visit the website co.europa.eu.